We're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new Monday night game. I am William or Shawnee, and I am your storyteller for this new World of Darkness game. Uh, we will be running Changeling the Lost, second edition, for the third Changeling game that Final Show Films has done. But
I thought you were going to say the third edition of Changeling. I'm like, that's not true. There is no World of Darkness Changeling. It definitely doesn't exist, and it's too bad.
that's fair.
It's really not. It's not the worst game that they've made.
Just not really, from my understanding, it's just not particularly World of Darkness.
Yeah, exactly. And also, when we're talking about the worst game World of Darkness has produced, listen, I love this system. I love this setting. I love all of it. But that's a low bar because Street Fighter, the game, exists.
Also, Samuel Haight.
Also, Samuel Haight. Also, Black Legion or Black. What I don't remember what it's called, but the Freak Legion, Player's Guide to Fomurai.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
We are embarking upon a new journey along a new storyline with new characters. So, when we begin, we'll go ahead and begin this session, but we will just be introducing our players for right now. We will be learning who their characters are as we come to them. So, let's start off with Jeremy.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. Hi.
And Julia, who is no longer in the storyteller seat.
Right. My name is Julia, and I'm now in the player's seat. And I am so excited because Changeling has been on my RPG bucket list for literally a decade.
And Drev.
I'm Drev. I'm also in a player seat, and I've also been waiting to play a game of Changeling.
Which is part of where this game came from, is from the generalized desire for Changeling from these players and my generalized ability to run Changeling and the storyline that has birthed in my brain. But without further ado, we will go ahead and begin our tale.
Also,
oh yes, and also, as always, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights, eat the rich, happy Pride.
Yep.
Right.
We're about to have a very queer cast of characters, so. All right. So, dialing it in.
As opposed to our many other games, which are so just full of nothing but straight characters.
So much heterosexuality.
So, as we begin. Fear, terror, the need to move, to run, to be anywhere but here. Flashes, a fight, a change, something moving, something upending, things being destabilized, things that haven't moved for so long, finally seeing their chance to run. Thorns, fire, pain, fear, emotions flash by like blaring lights. Memories, yours, someone else's, someone entirely new, scraped away by thorns as you sprint and flee and run. You feel yourself, bones breaking, flesh tearing, body reshaping, as a world that is not ready to accept you must. Things change. Things that had no form gain it. Things that had new form retain something old. Things that never were are now again. Everything changes. Everything shifts. Nothing is real. Everything is real. Everything is as it was. Nothing can ever be the same again. Things that you knew have been scraped away. Things that you thought were real feel foreign. Everything you were has been changed, and everything you are is new. Something about this place must be real. The smell of salt, the presence of a song, a memory of a place you've been before, a person who misses you. You know there is something there that you need. And you push ahead through the pain, through the missing memory, through the fire, the fear, the fury, the chase, the feel of something following you just behind, knowing that if you stumble for a moment, it might snap you in its jaws. And you tumble, end over end. You make deals, you ask questions, you make promises with whatever will listen to you. The elements themselves, the wood, the thorns, anything that can hear you, you beg for salvation. And some of it answers. Powers you've never wielded before come to your beck and call. You run, you flee, you dive. You find yourself tumbling out of a dresser drawer, out of a missing cabinet, out from under a bed, as each of you find yourselves in the real. For the first time in who knows how long. As three individuals pile out of the dreamlike hell that they had known for an unknown period, their memories torn by the thorns, unsure exactly where and sometimes even who they are. But three new beings find themselves in a run-down log cabin in the middle of the woods on the side of a mountain. Let's begin with Calliope. Describe yourself.
Calliope's mask is not so subtle, given the normal world. Shocking purple hair and bright blue eyes. She's very thin and lithe. She's slightly taller than average.
Your eyes blue or green?
Green, that's my bad. I don't remember what I did with my mini.
Mhm.
Though if one were to look deeper past the falsehood that the real puts up, Calliope is a swirling mass of colors, kaleidoscopic and polychromatic, constantly shifting and changing. Her hair always seems to flow like she's floating in water. Her smile and her eyes constantly change, and she's never one solid color or one solid form, constantly moving. In contrast, the clothing she wears is very Tim Burton-esque. A lot of whites and blacks and grays to tone down herself. Currently, Calliope's hair is a swirling vortex of pinks and blues.
And as you look down at the floor where you have tumbled, you realize that you have fallen out of the place that you have been, but you did not leave without a keepsake. As you look down, you see a massive chip, a piece of an enormous painter's pot, broken off in a vaguely circular shape, as the reel seems to have imposed itself upon it, almost as if forming it into a cracked and beaten shield. And next to you is the end of a long, enormous brush that had been used to paint with your very essence. But here, in a place where the real must enfold, it has become sharp, the edge of a blade, as this was the blade that carved through you. It has now become a blade for you to wield, as the tapering edge of a long sword with a haired pommel lays in front of you.
Calliope is going to shift into a sitting position, probably with several bones cracking. Did she pop out of the dresser, the chest, or come out of from under the bed?
You fell out of a dresser.
Okay. So she's just going to push herself back against that. And then look around for a second.
You realize as you look around that there are two other individuals in the room with you. As Frisian, describe yourself.
Where does Frisian come out of?
You have fallen out from underneath the bed.
From underneath the bed, comes clattering to Calliope, a gaunt, almost stone-like skinned figure with fur for legs and fur running down his head and off his shoulders. That doesn't quite look like fur. It looks almost stone-like, but not quite stone. But seeing the mask that the real puts on him, you see a fairly average-looking man. Someone that would not get a second look if you pass him on the street. But he is still thin and tall. Like he could use a good meal. That he hasn't had anything for quite some time.
And Frisian, you realize that the hedge has left you with only the barest accommodation for modesty, as you seem to be wearing what is the torn and destroyed remains of a pair of old combat fatigues. Something from many decades past, however long you've been waiting as a statue. All that remains of the attire that you were wearing when you were taken is this tattered remnant to decency. As you look around and see something that seems even older than you, and yet you don't even know truly how old you really are. But as you look up, tumbling out of the cupboard is the third figure. Marlena.
Yep. So falling out, landing hard with there is to Changeling eyes, a very elven looking creature. Very, very thin face, regal, sort of high cheekbones. Um, uh, Fair complexioned. I have to look at my fucking mini to remember colors.
Mm.
I made this a whole 7 days ago, so I can't be expected to remember that long. Sort of a yellowish, almost yellow greenish color, almost like very young vines, almost color. Long hair. With the front, it's sort of a brown little shock here. Well, to more mundane eyes, a older man, in the late 40s, early 50s, somewhere around there, still very fit. Um, Hair has gone mostly gray, very short cut. Um, just a hint of a Van Dyke. Um, uh, Sort of hits hard and just sort of lays there for a moment. Wearing again threads of what were probably fairly stylish looking clothes in the 90s for someone of that age. Before eventually going, ow. Sort of getting up a little bit on hands and looking around.
As the three of you look up and realize that you are not alone in this room, you still hear distantly, as if a fading echo, the sound of crashing and brawling as two terrifying entities beat themselves around what was once a workshop. Only as you listen to it, it fades as if carried away on the wind.
Oh, hell no.
And as if the world could not even comprehend the noises that it carried to you, you are left in natural silence, the faint sound of crickets in the evening air, and the setting of a sun illuminating the interior of this cabin.
It's a very slow gathering 2 feet, like slow as in careful, like trying to stay quiet just in case.
There is a slight scraping as that sword is drawn to Calliope's side.
Do you think they're gone?
Sits up and listens before commenting that the only sound is of crickets.
All right. And just walks over to the bed that Frizzing just fell out from underneath and just sits down. Anybody got any idea where the hell we are?
Calliope will look out the window, and then a look of confusion and then recognition will shine across her face. And then she'll just look down at her hands. I can speak. I have a mouth. I can make words. Oh. Oh. Hi.
Howdy, darling.
None of this looks familiar. Well, a lot of things don't look familiar.
Stand up, walk over to the window, look out. Oh, I mean, it ain't unfamiliar, but I mean, this could be anywhere. Like, what exactly is outside?
So as you look out,
we should clarify.
Yeah,
that.
you step up to the window and sort of look out, and you see the setting sun. As you appear to be in a westward facing cabin.
Okay.
That is high up in a series of hills and mountains that overlooks a descent into civilization. As you look down, you can see sort of staring down this like descending slope of the mountain that you seem to be about halfway up. You can see that there is a small, you wouldn't call it a town, but you wouldn't call it, you're not certain what you'd call it. It looks like there are attractions, rides. You see like a ski lift off to one side that you could probably reach that like carries you down towards that, but not necessarily all the way. You see that there are what appear to be like tall towers with like spinning chairs and old carnival rides and new things that you've never seen before, but somewhere in that vicinity. As you sort of look down and you can just see this massive amusement spread of different buildings that you are maybe like a half mile, maybe a mile, maybe 2 miles up a mountain from. As you seem to be in a log cabin to the east of. Your eyes aren't sharp enough, but you see a giant butterfly on a sign.
Is it fair enough to say that I probably know where we are?
You're from this vicinity.
I'm from this vicinity, yeah.
You probably know roughly where you're at. I think Dollywood's been around since before the 90s.
Oh, easily, yes. It has to have been. I'm almost certain. Oh, it was opened in 1961. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you recognize it looks much more modern than when you saw it, but you recognize Dollywood. You are up the mountains from Dollywood.
Oh, thank God. I know where we are.
And where is that?
We are not too far from Knoxville, Tennessee, United States.
That one I remember.
Okay. Because we're willing to go as far as Earth, but
Everything's really hazy.
yeah, just take a second, darling. We'll be fine. We're out now.
Are we?
Sorry, say that again.
Are we?
I mean, I assume so. I wouldn't put it past keepers to go this kind of a long game, but I don't know, that seems like a lot.
Yeah, you out, comes an extra voice as a fourth figure sort of appears in the doorway.
Sword.
I'm letting sword person sword.
Mind you, she is holding the sword in like both hands and still like in sitting fetal position, but has sword at the ready.
It's better than nothing.
The next thing you know, Frisian's on his feet with like sharp-looking claws and commands the figure to identify themselves.
Easy now, put that sharp poking paintbrush away. Them claws ain't gonna do you no good neither. And as you look with the sun, as they step aside so that they are illuminated by the sun rather than backlit by them, and you can actually make out features, you see what appears to be an old-timey prospector. As this individual has like the massive, like billowing, bushy white beard that's like blackened at the edges. Sort of like the wizened old man features. The hair is mostly gone, pulled back. Big, wide-brimmed hat with a corncob pipe in the front of it. Wearing like flannel shirt with overalls. But as you look past the mask, you see that this man is a coal elemental, as his beard is rather than white and blackened at the edge, is coal gray with embers of with embers of a burning coal flame sort of crackling from beneath. His wizened features are actually the like cracked visage of a well spent coal rock. And his eyes that are normally in the mask, these sort of like bright green, are actually these burning pits of orange and yellow. And the corncob pipe in his hat is constantly smoking. as he looks over the group of you. Welcome back to the real. It's been a long time since somebody came tumbling out around these here mountains.
Well, that fits mighty well because it's been a long time since I've been here. I'm sorry, you are.
Right. Where are my manners? Folk around here call me Matchstick, but you can just call me, well, whatever you feel like calling me. But I happen to live around these parts, and I tend to keep an eye on the places where the thorns get a little thin. Occasionally, folk like yourself will come popping out. Hadn't been a long time now, but, well, here you are. I figured I'd welcome you back from the terrible troubles y'all been knowing.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Calliope will sword.
I imagine y'all be pretty confused and probably need a good welcoming back on what the current state of affairs are like and what the world's gonna look like now that y'all don't quite belong in it no more. Like myself.
I mean, that would not go unappreciated. I'm sure, absolutely certain.
I have to agree.
First questions first. What year is it?
Year of our Lord 2024.
Child, I'm sure I heard you wrong.
No, I imagine that'd be a shock to most of you. Most of you don't look like you're from this era. But it has been 2024 years since them folk decided they wanted to switch the calendar.
All right.
Briscian kicks a wall and yells, "Fuck."
That matches. He's right. Weirdly enough, that matches.
Sounds like all y'all come from different time periods. You got the least time lost. It's about to turn into autumn now.
All right.
When did America close its borders to the Chinese? After
yeah.
About 3. Are you talking the pandemic one?
Wait, it went pandemic?
I'm sure there is a lot of information that needs to be disseminated about the last however long for everyone, but I'm guessing, Labby, sweetie, were there cars last time?
Yes. And well, we just had an election.
Who was the president?
Well, his Royal Orange fuckface Donald J. Trump got thrown out.
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Like I said, his Royal Orange fuckface Donald J. Trump got thrown out.
Okay, so he didn't win. Good. Good. I vaguely remember some things shutting down. Everybody was really upset because they couldn't go to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid that while that whole problem ain't really gone away, folks have just sort of moved on with it, and it's just sort of risk of life now. But it's gotten better, modern medicine and all that. But That's probably not the only question y'all got.
I'm sorry. Hmm.
You see Frisian, like against the wall that he kicked, trying to do math on the floor in the dust.
You okay over there?
Sweetie, when was what year was it the last time you remember?
Frisian looks up at me.
Yeah.
I had a year in mind. Now I can't remember.
I feel ya.
The last major event that I remember was the bombs dropping.
Which bombs?
You're gonna have to narrow that down. There's been a lot of bombs.
Japan.
Oh,
The nuclear bombs.
Is that what they were? Yes. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
dear. Okay, so that was 1945, sweetie. So we are looking at 79 years for you.
Kicks the wall again.
Easy. It's gonna be all right. We're looking at 26 years for me, 25, 26, something like that. Nope, it's fall about 26. And clearly far less for you.
4.5 years.
All right, so we'll be using you to catch us up on most everything then.
That makes sense.
Beyond the most immediate stuff, obviously, that good matchstick here is ready. It needs to let us know, whatever that may be.
Right. Well, y'all done missed the greater part of a global pandemic. So congratulations on avoiding the sickness, though I don't quite frankly don't even know if it really works on us the same way it works on the normal folk.
Which pandemic are you talking about?
That'd be the coronavirus discovered in 2019.
Okay.
Nah, we've
Different
we're a long way past the Spanish influenza outbreak. Yes.
Listen, I don't know if I admit it's 2024 apparently, and we've just escaped from fairyland, so
But
anything's possible.
with the world opening up in the aftermath of that global pandemic, everybody's a little gone for a loop. You'll find the world's a little bit more mad than you remember it. Even you, Miss 4.5 years. Now, I know this might be kind of fuzzy for the rest of you. Do any of you remember names that I ought to be calling you by?
Excuse me. Yes, for now you can call me Jackson, Don.
Jackson it is. Whatever you said did not come over the mic, Julia.
No, she's mouthing the words to get it into her mind.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot. I do remember Kaleidoscope. That's what I remember.
I mean, we can call you that, but I mean, you might want something a little bit more name-like. Most folk just call me Matchstick because I'm the old man runs the old coal mine exhibit, but you folks seem like somewhat more normal, even beyond what's all gonna go on underneath. But
Calliope.
Calliope. All right.
that works. And you, Mister, if I had to take a guess by the broken down fatigues World War II veteran.
Frisian. That's what comes to mind.
All right, Frisian, Jackson, and Calliope. Pleasure to meet all of you. Like I said, most folks call me Matchstick, but if you really need a human name, you can call me Maxwell.
Matchstick will do just fine if that's what you prefer.
It's all the same to me, but I reckon a lot of y'all probably going to be real hungry come now, so, considering some of you might not have eaten for what sounds like decades. So, let's get some food in you, and I'll explain modern history, but also the important things that comes out with the kind of unique being that all of y'all are now.
All right.
I can set some food up in here, use the facilities here, but I imagine y'all might want to get away from the place where y'all just fell out of the thorns.
Yeah.
So if you follow me, I'll take y'all back to my own cabin. That's a little ways down the mountain and a little bit closer to the festivities down there, and I'll whip y'all up a nice hearty meal.
That sounds just wonderful to me.
And he turns and sort of picks up this like charcoal walking stick, like this like old burnt to hell, like looks like it's made out of entirely burnt wood. But it has that like sort of knobbly like walking cane with like the 90-degree angle, like rounded off handle at the top, and he sort of just starts to walk down the mountain with it. Doesn't seem like he needs it. His walk is like aesthetically old and bent, but he doesn't look like he's actually suffering at all. He looks like he's walking just fine.
Everything, honey, you gonna be okay? You good to come with us?
Brizian takes a deep breath and stands tall. It's like, yeah,
You know, worst is over now. Every
Wow.
step from here is every step from here is a step further away from those assholes.
Calliope is going to stand up, take a single step, and then fall back onto her ass.
Brizian will try to catch her.
Clappy?
Sorry, it's been a few years since I used my legs.
Quite all right. Now, I do not remember because it had been discussed, but I don't remember if it was ever firmly planned on or decided. Are we all from the same place?
That's what I'm operating on, unless any of you don't want to be.
Okay. No, absolutely. Let's let's not keep our guest or our kind guide waiting.
Brizian will hold out an arm for for Calliope.
She will take it and then very quickly scoop up her two pieces from Arcadia. And will take the help.
And as you walk, you notice something unique about Matchstick as he goes. Aside from the entire changeling demeanor, he seems to, despite the like fiery coal aspect to him, there seems to be a warmth around him that is unseasonal. Everywhere he goes, you can sort of see like the grass he walks on seems to stand just a little bit taller, and the air around him is a little warmer than the cooling autumn air ought to be. And you can just ever so faintly smell flowers on the wind whenever you're in his vicinity. He seems to bring a little bit of spring with him wherever he walks.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make sure that I will walking as close in like letting him lead the way, but like right behind, and just making sure that Frizzy and Calliope aren't falling behind. So if I may ask, Matchstick, how long is it that you've been out exactly?
Well, I've been the same old man that's been running the coal mine exhibit and the fancy festivities over down in Dollywood. Well, I run one of the shifts anyway. I've been the same old man doing that job for the past 30 years.
Wow, that's
One of
sounds
those
like
one of those new fancy traits that I think you'll find is that we don't quite age the same way we used to anymore. I've been the same old man for a long time. Still don't feel like an old man though.
I mean, that is literally the best news I've heard in 25 years.
Don't mean we don't get old. I have seen some of the folk who've been down here since, well, since the colonization, but they getting real up there.
I'm sorry. Did you say from the colonization?
Yeah, them's the ones that got real in tune with them fancy magics. See, the thing that it seems to be, as far as I understand it, is the more you find yourself living in tune with the thing, with the spirit of the thorns and all that stuff and all that magic from the other side, the longer you get to live, the slower you tend to age. Now, my understanding is that them folk that's been here since the colonization was kids when they was taken, and now there's ripe old age, but they've been here for a long time.
That's a little hard to take in.
There's a lot of things about this world that don't quite make sense no more now that you're on the other side of the thorns. But I think you'll get a hang for it.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm sure. I am absolutely sure that there is. It's not even going to be the weirdest thing we discover. But we'll adjust.
Now, were there any worldly questions you had, or did you want me to get straight down to the explanation of the supernatural?
I mean, is the? I'm sure we can catch up on. I'm sure that Frizzine and I can catch up on what we've missed to recent times with Calliope, just in case there's anything incredibly crucial between 2020 and now that we should know.
Well, I told you about the pandemic that came and sort of
Right.
still sort of hanging around. Uh, there's been a whole lot of uppity outrage around these couple past years, getting real angry about all them folk what don't seem to exist in the idea of normalcy for your standard old white man around the old cities. But on the plus side, the court system's been trying to shove it out real good, even with some bad folk up at the top. But all in all, I think you're going to find a world that's gone a little bit mad, a little touched in the head. But I keep saying that. There's a lot of folk like yourself around here. Well, you just got to find them. We don't keep much of a real organized presence, but we do have a couple of places where folk like us tend to meet just to get the local news and see what's been going on.
You say, that's it, honey. When I was last around, a band named Limp Bizkit was topping the chart. So touched in the head, we're already there.
You missed a lot of good music.
I look forward to hearing it.
Lizzo's doing another world tour, so that's going well for her.
Good for her.
Aye, that's
Remember
one.
that one. Don't know my name, but I knew that.
How it works a lot of time.
Now, I imagine none of your memory is going to be real fuzzy. From my experience, meeting the occasional folk tumble out, one of the first things that goes away is the real details of all the torture. Probably a defense mechanism, probably not good to remember every bloody detail from what you experienced. But some of them things stick out. Some of the worst of it, always. But the problem is, crossing the thorns has to reassert what's supposed to be normal onto something that ain't no more. So, your lot, what we call changelings, like myself, we all live something on the in between, between that weird fey place that we just came from and between the world that we used to know. Something like the thorns themselves.
I see.
And you'll
That's
find
not
that,
true. I'm sure I don't see, but I'm sure I will.
yeah, you'll figure it out in time. But one of the things that you'll find is that along with your regular appetite for food coming back and the need to live off of, regular stuff, the folk that you need to the thing that you need to worry about as well as regular food is going to be your glamour. Now, y'all probably
Glamour.
going to be a little hungry right about now. And as he says that, all of you can mark that you're at half glamour right now.
Okay.
So glamour, as we tend to call it, is the stuff that makes up human emotion. The stuff that we, as altered by the Fae, can't quite make anymore. Our emotions are made one with the Fae and the Thorns. Everything that we are is altered by the magic we're made of now. But regular mortals, mundane, regular human beings, have beings that radiate this emotional energy. We call it glamour, and when humans overflow with their emotions, some of it builds up and sort of drains off, and we can live off that for some of our sustenance that keeps us intact, keeps us functional, lets us use some of them fancy tricks we know. When you start running out of it, everything will seem a little bit bleak and dreary and more gray than it used to be. It's a real good idea to make sure you keep yourself topped up, but don't feed too hard. I'm sure you'll all get used to how it works. It sort of comes naturally. But don't eat too much. You risk not only hurting yourself, but potentially the person you're feeding off of. And it ain't good to harbor injuries for them that provide you what you need at this point.
I see.
But realize how much I say that now. As you go, you'll probably figure out that you probably made some deals with some of the voices and the thorns as you were trying to run out. Them deals you made to try and help you escape are still valid, and you can call on them with just a bit of glamour usually, or fulfilling some of the loopholes in them contracts you probably promised. You might not remember all the details, but they're still there if you need to call on them. That'll probably be your saving grace for your first few days of adjustment.
All right.
But in the meantime, welcome to the Freehold. That's what we tend to call the sort of loose organization of everybody who's one of us in this area. There's not really a government structure. We're not much in the way of political people generally, but there's all sorts of different folks that you'll find around here, and you'll probably have an easier time talking with folks that share your disposition. It's one of them quirks about being a changeling, but each of us tends to identify with some fundamental aspects of nature. Some of the things that make us who we are, part of our being, is how we approach life and what we're like. And that can change over time, just like people can change over time. But we call them the courts of the four seasons primarily, because there's them the big ones that most people tend to fall into. There's a couple ones on the outside, but most changelings that you meet will fit into one of the big four, the four seasons: summer, spring, winter, and fall. I myself tend to call myself a spring folk. Each of you probably figure out how you lean and who you identify with as time goes on. That don't mean you'll get along with everybody that fits in that same chord as you do, but you'll find plenty of stuff in common with them, and you probably find plenty in common with people who lean other ways just fine. But I'm rambling now. If there's any real specific questions y'all got, I'm happy to answer.
That is quite all right. Now, I am looking at Calliope and Frisbee, making sure they don't seem to be getting overwhelmed with all this information.
Calliope looks a mixture of a little overwhelmed and very confused. From a meta standpoint, there were a lot of words he said that she just doesn't understand.
Legit.
Yep.
She's forgotten a lot of the English language.
Legit. Calliope, darling, is there anything you need clarified from all of that?
I don't think so.
It's okay if you do. This is new to all of us.
It's all just a lot.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, Miss Matchstick. And she just sort of stops and touches her throat. You said a lot of words, and I probably understood half of them. So please don't repeat yourself, but I might come back and ask for a deeper explanation later.
I'll be happy to answer any questions, but it looks like we're here.
And how is
He says-
Frisian handling? Seem to be handling. it.
Frisian is fairly stoic at the moment. He's just taking it all in and just slowly processing. It's like, glamour, okay. Note for later, how do we get glamour?
Fair
Wow.
enough.
Yes, the two types of autism.
No, it's just like Frisian's like military briefing. It's like, just let them finish their talking. They'll tell us what we need to know.
But it looks like we're here, he says as he rounds a corner around a large tree, and you see another cabin. This one seemingly much better upkept, and you can actually see like it has some modern amenities, like there's a power line that seems to run up to it. And there's what appears to be like a satellite dish and various like satellite relays up, like hanging off the side of it that seem to give it Calliope. You would assume there's internet here, which is probably an interesting accommodation. He steps inside, and you realize this cabin is larger than the one that you were in. The cabin that you were previously in was like a one-room affair. This has got at least 3 or 4. And there's a big central room that he sort of walks into, where there's a table and chairs set out, and he walks over to the kitchen that is in the same room as this dining room, combination kitchen dining room. And he puts on an electric stove and starts to make a very good old southern down home southern meal of mashed potatoes and gravy and biscuits.
Does I have to ask, is it TARDIS-esque? Is it much larger on the inside, or is
no, it's about, it's, you sense like it's not quite matching up dimensionally, but you don't think it's like TARDIS level. You think that there's like a little bit of extra space in here, but you're not certain how. You don't think it's a, like, if it's some kind of magic, it's probably Changeling magic, but it's not like the dimensions don't mismatch terribly.
Mr. Matchstick, if you, strange question to ask someone named Matchstick, but do you happen to have any cigarettes on your person?
Funny thing, I don't really tend to smoke that much, but I always keep a pack around for someone who might need them.
If you would not mind.
Afraid there might
It
not
has
be
been a while.
They might not be to your taste. I tend to just get generic brand.
That is quite all right. It's a much fancier brand than I've had in a long time.
He reaches into a drawer and pulls out a small pack of cigarettes and pulls one out. Holds it up, brings his other hand over, and just snaps his fingers, and it lights as there's a small spark, and he hands it over to you.
Thank you much.
No.
So it's quite all right. My question would be then at this point, what's next?
Well, I imagine some of y'all folks are going to want to make sure that you got what you need to got. The Thorns tend to know. You're going to find that your life sort of follows the patterns of a storybook in a lot of ways. We come from a place of stories and change and whims. But the Thorns know what a man or a woman or anybody in between needs when they come back from the real. Or when they come back to the real. So you'll find that in short order, as reality reasserts itself around you, that everything that the Thorns think you needed will find its way to you. If you might find yourself with some assets you didn't know you had, some homes that might not have maybe been in order, or at least that should only have existed for so long, some of you pretty time displaced, might suddenly still be in your name. You might find that your bank account's still active and got some money in it. Everything that should be in place for you, far as the Thorns believe, will be waiting for you as you make your way back into civilization. Not everybody gets the same treatment, though. Everybody loves an underdog, and some of your stories might be rougher than others.
I see.
I would say I want to check my bank account, but can't remember my damn name.
Do you remember where you're from? It sounds like you are at least from the US. Do you have any memories that stick out? Landmarks or
Yeah.
temperature, and if that temperature was familiar. Names.
Calliope, you sort of look down at your hand and you realize there's a wedding band on your left hand.
Oh, sweet heavens.
Is that what I think it is?
If it's not, then I have a very bad taste in placement. Oh, sweet heavens. I was gone for 4.5 years. Whoever this was must have been devastated.
Well, we will get all that sorted out. I certainly have my own people I will need to be looking after.
And as you think on that, Calliope, there's some part of you that knows that they are still out there. You don't know why you know that or even who they are, but you know that whoever this wedding band pairs with is still there, as are two other figures that lurk in the back of your memory.
It's all fuzzy. But what I can say that I remember, she leans forward and her accent shifts. I do remember a little bit about someone. I don't, male, female, anything in between or neither, I don't remember. But what I do remember is that I don't remember it, I know it. Whoever they are, they're out there and they're alive. That I do know.
All right.
And there's two other people. It's all fuzzy and it's all dark and shades, and it's very hard to think in black and white right now.
All right. Well, here's what's next. You don't have to answer this right away. In fact, you probably shouldn't. It's just something for you to think about. Do you want to find them? Or with everything that's changed, is it time for you to start anew? You can think on that. Because I know I have some conflicted thoughts about it myself.
She'll sort of sit back in her chair. I'm from this area.
All right.
Not here, I don't think.
Is it more, is it Tennessee? Alabama?
No,
Mississippi?
I think I'm from Tennessee.
Okay. Knoxville? Williamsburg?
It's too specific of memory.
All right.
Well, y'all just outside of Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg right now.
Right. We're not far away from where I was.
Wait, no, I know Pigeon Forge. That's no, it's been said more than once. That's a
Dollywood.
head. Yep. Oh, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I remembered
the door.
Dollywood. She'll look at Frisian.
Hmm?
She'll look at Frisian. I assume you said something. You made a noise.
No. It's like you hear Frisian quietly mumble, "What's a Dollywood?"
Dollywood. Oh, sweetie darling, we gonna have to educate you on the last Well, last 50 years at least, and more like the last 70 some years, because things have changed, honey.
Matchstick. I saw a little bit of the equipment you got on the house. You happen to have a smartphone or laptop that I can?
That I do, he says as he fishes into one of his like shirt pockets and pulls out this long, thin black rectangle that is the smartphone and hands it over to
what the fuck is that?
That's my phone.
Oh, I'm about to blow both of your minds. So, and she will just start working it.
That is
if I recall correctly, Dolly Parton wouldn't have been born till the year after Mr. Frisian was snatched.
You are absolutely correct.
Oh,
Dolly Parton. The short of it, Frisian, Dolly Parton is a country pop singer and an icon.
Oh, she's branched out a little bit in recent years. Folk couldn't believe that she reached out into hard rock and metal when she had some real angry music to put out last year.
I mean, what?
That's.
Oh, I'm gonna have to show y'all World on Fire.
Listen, music is a big soup. You draw from all sorts of elements, but country pop singer historically. An icon, an angel, and the patron saint of the quiz.
Frisian also looks at Matchstick. Heavy rock? What is
rock music? Oh dear Lord!
Because the rock is late 40s.
Oh sweet my not even that. Like rock is like Rock Around the Clock is like one of the first real rock songs, and that's like 50, early 50.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay, Frisian, you know the blues, right?
Yes.
Take the blues, take country, take bluegrass, mix it all together and electrify it.
Electrify it?
Uh-huh. And we will show you. I'm sure it's changed quite a bit even since I last heard it, but
here we go, Dollywood, and she'll slide the smartphone between the two of you.
And it's just got images of Dollywood in the park and everything, and people walking by.
Okay, now some of this is coming back.
Phones can do this now.
Oh, phones can do a whole lot of stuff. They're basically tiny computers in your pocket now. Everybody's got a supercomputer at their hands.
Let me state that again. Computers can do this now.
Surprisingly, we sort of went backwards. We have the breadth of human knowledge in our pocket, and the amount of idiots that's walking the planet has somehow tripled since then.
I mean, idiots.
Yeah, if you ask cynical old me, I would say it's not that the number of idiots has increased. It's just that they got a lot louder now since they can all talk at us from a long distance.
I think Frisian's more stunned by color photography.
I mean, that's a fair point. That is a really fair point.
Frisian doesn't even get to computer and pocket. What's a computer? Wait, this is color.
All right, well. Frisian, how are you doing? I'm sure.
It's bright.
What do you?
What?
Let's move away from the computer phone right now, and let's focus on you for a moment. What do you remember? Do you have did you have a family?
I mean, I would have had parents. I don't remember siblings.
Did you have no siblings? No sweetheart?
Not Nothing comes to mind.
All right.
I know. He starts like, oh, not quite singing a Dutch lullaby. I have no
Alright.
idea what a Dutch lullaby is.
That's helpful. And are you should ask, are you from the United States?
I think legally I was an American. I was part of the armed forces. Like I have the fatigues.
Then you are from the United States, yes. If you're from the US Armed Forces, then yes. You don't remember where, I'm assuming.
I remember it being warm, sand,
Okay.
sun.
Florida, California, Hawaii.
I'm not sure.
Now, considering you're wearing
Arizona.
beaten up fatigues, and I'll be honest, fates aren't that kind as to. No, you remember the bombs dropping last thing, right?
Yeah, I think we
You
were
were
on
still
our way
you were
back.
still on active duty when you got snatched, so you weren't even in the States at the time.
Are you Frizzy, are you wearing dog tags perchance?
Did the Thorns let Frisian keep his tags?
I'll leave that up to you. If they did, the name's probably been changed, but yeah, feel free to roll a die if you need to.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a pair of dog tags, but the name on it, instead of whatever your original name was, it now in scrawling thorn-like script just reads Frisian.
Can I see those?
Frisian looks at him for a moment and then like undoes the chain and like holds them out for you to look at.
Thank you, sweetie. So I am going to look because the name may have changed. Fair enough. But if the other information looks like it's still valid, like it hasn't been changed, we can find out who Frisian was.
So while the like biological information, like blood type and everything like that, is still valid,
Date of birth,
yeah, and date of birth and stuff is still valid, none of the like identifier information, none of like the ID
so like
tag,
the serial number,
yeah, like serial numbers and stuff, none of that is still
I know it's not serial no, it's not literally serial number, but
yeah,
functionally
like,
it is.
Yeah, like you're like the army ID tag part of it, the thing that says, you know, who you were in the army is completely nonsense.
Okay. Well, it's a start. It says here you were born blah.
However old I made Frisian. Frisian is not that old.
So it says you are a whatever the religion is, because that was on dog. I don't remember if it still is, but that was on dog tags.
In World War II, yeah.
I don't know if you want to adjust your thinking on that, considering recent events. But, and by recent, I mean the last 70 some years.
But all things considered, you might have been taken from distant shores and still wound up here. Who knows why? Only the Thorns really do. And good luck getting them to talk.
It's okay. The important question, Frizzing, do you want to find out, or are you perfectly happy leaving your past in your past.
You said it's been 70, so I think most
It would be 79 years, yes.
79, yeah. I don't think there's much of my past to go back to.
Probably not, but you never
Like
know.
any-
You might have, if conceivably, and this is something you obviously don't have to do, but if your parents, if you did you have if you had aunts, uncles, something like that, or if your parents had another child later, you could have great nieces, great
Well,
nephews.
while you're contemplating the great existential questions of the universe,
Yes.
please feel free to tuck into this, he says as he lays down a plate of mashed potatoes, biscuits, gravy, and a little bit of meat on the side for each of you.
Thank you much.
Sprinkled a little bit of glamour on it for you, just so you get a feeling of what the taste is like, and it'll help you recharge your batteries a bit.
All right. So how many others like us are there around here?
Oh, I don't really keep personal track of just how many changelings are in the freehold, but I can probably count off the top of my head at least a couple dozen. Numbers don't ever get real big, but we got a presence. I don't think we number more than 100 really across the whole freehold if I were to hazard a guess, but we got people in all sorts of places.
Okay. Is there anything that we're gonna have to do?
Well, like I said, we're not really much
Stop.
of a political body. It's not really a government. We do have a commons, which is the place that we all get together to meet occasionally and introduce ourselves, talk about the local news. So it might be worth dropping by there just to hang your hat, put your name on the wall. But the
And
ain't
where is
really
that?
nobody that answer to. Actually in Dollywood, one of the amusement park facilities that's always down for maintenance is kept that way so that it can serve as our commons area for us to meet and greet and talk and do stuff.
That brings up many questions I am very curious about, but they are not the focus right now. Okay. So we can do that at some point. Clappy, we can try and find out more about you if you want.
I think I'd like that. I'd at least like to know what this ring goes to.
That's a pretty piece. I imagine that unless they left you with a fetch, then you're probably gonna have to figure out who that was.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I feel like you'd probably know if you had one, but some of you might not be aware of the sensation yet. So the folk that take us, sometimes they just don't bother doing anything but snatch you, and sometimes they leave something in your place. That's why some
I'm
of us
sorry,
are called
what?
changelings. You remember the old fairy tales like Scottish and Celtic myths about fey creatures snatching children and leaving something in the place? Like that.
Right.
The thing they leave behind keeps on living the life that you had, but when you come, well, to be fair, the two of you are less likely, considering how long you've been gone, to have a still living fetch, even if you had one at the time. But when the fetch realizes you're there, that starts to make it their problem because they exist off of you not being in the real. And when you come back to the real, everything they are starts to get a little bit shaky. So fetches tend to make it the changeling's problem in short order if they're still around, because they need to make you not real anymore so they can keep being real.
Let's
If you
see.
catch my drift.
More or less. Well,
I remember reading those stories.
Yeah, more of them are true than I feel comfortable admitting.
where we're at. Matchstick, you don't happen to have a car, do you?
Matter of fact, I got myself a good old pickup truck. Got to keep up the old timey prospector aesthetic.
Wonderful.
It should be big enough to carry all of you into town if you need a lift.
I was wondering if you might be willing to take us to Williamsburg.
I could certainly drive you a couple towns over if you need to.
It's not
The
yeah.
freehold tends to stretch a little bit. People around here live across a wide range, but we try and stay in communication.
Mm-hmm.
The Smoky Mountain freehold tends to stretch from middle of the Great Smoky Mountains round Cherokee all the way up to Knoxville.
All right.
And a little bit else in different directions, but
Makes sense. If you can take us there, I'm gonna hope that I should be able to find us some lodgings for the time being.
yeah, we're actually just north of Williamsburg. I can just
Correct.
take some back roads.
Yeah, it's only like 15 minutes away. Should be. That would be most helpful.
All right. Well, once you finish up your meal, get a taste of that glamour so you know what you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
we'll go ahead and head out.
Delightful.
And with that, we'll go ahead and take our break.
All righty. You take your break, you take blah, 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 blah.
Stand up, stretch your legs, do whatever you need to do.
Right.
We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Yep. are back.
Welcome back. Whatever.
I shut the door so I don't inflict my accent on my roommates. Only
Yeah.
you get that. You all get that luxury. You're welcome, by the way.
It's an honor.
So you all enjoy your meal.
Yep.
And yeah, as you eat it, you do feel that rush of like, there's something special about this food as each of you feel an updraft of whimsy and amazement, which apparently appears to be the emotion that this glamour was harvested from. It's weird to taste an emotion without actually experiencing it as if it was your own emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strange sensation. But you feel the whimsy and awe that was harvested from presumably children exploring the mines.
Interesting. Do we actually get any glamour back
Yes,
from
you
that?
all you each get a glamour.
All right. And to clarify, when you said half, was that round down or round up? Because I'm in the middle. I'm in the odd amount of glamour.
Round up for ease.
Cool. All right. Thank you much for that. I do feel better.
All right. Well, with your meals having been gone through, let's go ahead and pile up in the truck and drive south down to Williamsburg.
All right.
You reckon you got a place that I might be able to find?
I hope so.
Remember
It
an
was
address?
I used to, yes, I do. I used to tour a lot, and I had things set up quite nicely to where if I was gone for a long period. Now this is a long period of time. But it was squirreled away, it was all taken care of. So at least legality, there shouldn't have been any issues.
Well, like I said, Thorns tend to have a way of making sure everybody gets what they need to get when they come out. So I reckon, if you're lucky, this house should be in good working order.
We will have to see.
Let's all pile into this here truck, he says as he steps outside, and you see a 2022 like Chevy Trailblazer.
Frisian is stunned at what modern vehicles look like.
Why is it so round?
He sort of looks at the vehicle. Oh, modern vehicle manufacturers have advanced the ways that vehicles are made, and this baby's made to well, let's just say the vehicles of your era were probably big metal death traps. Because they were made of solid steel, and so you are the thing that gets bent when they get into a crash. These things are made to crumple before the driver does.
I mean, they were fairly safe, I suppose.
If you were the bigger vehicle in the accident.
How's the electric vehicle business going?
Oh, it's getting better and better. Battery mileage keeps getting longer. Vehicles can make bigger trips on less time charging. This one's still a gas one, though, because it's hard to get that kind of power up here in the mountains.
I can imagine so. I mean, you got all these. You don't have much in the way of generation out this way.
I got enough power line for my house and enough satellite for my internet, but can't really do much more than that.
Oh, shit, it didn't capture that one right.
If I need to do too much more, I'll just typically head down into town. Not a long drive. he hops into the seat,
Yep.
unlocks the doors for everyone else.
Also, I need to turn
There's
off
there's
my
a there's a push
fucking
button.
beeps on my text chat.
Yeah.
'Cause that shit is the worst. All right, here we go.
Yeah, there's a push button start in this vehicle, which is definitely news to the two of you.
Yep.
as he just sits in the seat and hits the start button, and the vehicle's engine goes off.
That is, I mean, 25 years. I suppose that's to be expected.
Well, not everything has a push start, and even then, I still have to have the key on me. He says as he holds up the key fob.
I'd hope so. Otherwise, it'd be very easy to steal them.
Yeah. He puts it in drive, and you have a surprisingly smooth drive down the mountains for those of you who are used to 90s transmissions or 40s transmissions.
Yep.
Suspension.
Prisian, like, got in, was like kind of like bracing himself for the bumpiest ride that never came.
Yeah. I imagine suspension's a bit smoother than you folks are from the 90s and the 40s.
Considering it's not trying to throw me out, I think it's good. Or maybe that was just the driver was bad at it. I don't know.
Could have been a bit of both. And it's about 15 minutes before they're in Williamsburg. And as he pulls into town, if you could go ahead and give me that address so I can punch
Yes,
it in
of
here.
course.
He says he puts his smartphone in a slot on the dash and pulls up Waze.
It is am I gonna need to have like a
no, you can just say you give him the address. Yeah.
Okay. If
Just give him the
all of a
address
sudden
and-
like it is hold on just a moment. I'm sure this will come to me.
And he hits the microphone button on Waze and waits for you to say the address.
Yeah, it gives the address. I'm like, sorry, did you just technology is a wonderful thing.
And then he hits the button and it starts navigating him that way. You hear the AI voice telling you that navigating to address.
Wait, what?
What in the actual fuck?
Y'all got a lot of technology to get caught up on.
I mean, I guess it's.
I make a joke about a boomer in technology, except Frisian's not a boomer.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a little sci-fi for what I'm used to, but it's fine.
I thought I was displaced. Ooh.
Listen, I at least understand what a phone is that you hold and carry around with you. Not that far gone. No offense.
Yeah, technology marches on exponentially quickly. Everything's been getting more advanced in the past 10 years than it was in the 10 before it and the 10 before that.
Sadly, probably not much. You would think that would improve things for society, but
there's still plenty of hateful folk and plenty of stupid idiots. Only now they got louder voices. Unfortunately, if anything, the technology's giving them more power to be stupid idiots and hateful.
I was gonna say, technology changes, stupidity is everything.
Yep. Can't rightly disagree.
It is timeless.
And after another like 5 or 10 minutes, he pulls up to a house that is pristine.
So it would actually be like warehouse area.
Yeah.
Like this is very much like a portion of a portion of a warehouse that has been like essentially bought.
Yeah.
That is probably, I don't know, I would assume pretty well abandoned.
Yeah, like the entire building is abandoned, but as you look around, this whole warehouse seems to not be in use for one reason or another, not just the portion that you had bought. And so but when you walk in, everything is very nicely upkept. Everything is well upholstered. There's modern technology in place. There are lights and heating and air conditioning.
This is uncomfortable.
Well, I'd reckon that you got a lucky draw out of the hedge, and they decided that your old place to crash is still worthwhile.
All right. Well, Matchstick, thank you very much. I'm assuming. How do we get a hold of? I'm assuming you have a phone number. Do phones still have that?
Matter of fact, I do. And
All right.
you might want this since it fell out along the same time. You all did. Slightly out of place, he says as he pulls out a cell phone and hands it over to Calliope. And you realize that it has your information in it, Calliope.
She's gonna scan her thumb on the thumbprint.
And it reads you.
Okay, that's bizarre, but she just slides against a wall and starts going through.
Now it like all of the information on it is you as Calliope. It doesn't have any of who you were in it, but it is your cell phone.
Opening contacts. Like
Twitter, Facebook.
So, like I said, any personally identifiable information is intentionally obfuscated. So any personal contacts that you might have had are gone. Because you didn't take the allies dots,
right.
But any kind of like identifiable people or social media that you would have used is not present. But you do have a working phone. There are photos, but any of them there are photos of places. Any photos that have you or the people that you're trying to remember who they are in them are blurry. They're there, but they're blurry. And for some reason, there's a lot of blue and red.
She'll hit the power button and gently slam the phone on the ground.
You all right?
I thought maybe, I thought maybe, just maybe, they might have something.
Not so much.
No.
It's all right. We will get it figured out. Matchstick, thank you very much. I will get that phone number from you.
Yeah. He'll just go ahead and write it down on a
Look
note.
around like weirdly, I know where my writing utensils are still. I go grab a pen, piece of paper, hand it over.
Yeah, he'll write down a phone number for you and hand it back.
Thank you very much.
And let me give you the building in Dollywood, and he'll write down directions to the building in Dollywood for the commons.
Yep.
And when you get there, and he'll write this down as well. Knock twice and say that you're here for the biannual meeting.
Biannual meeting.
It's code. It's not actually biannual.
Of course. I understand. Well, we will not keep you any longer, good sir.
Well, feel free to give me a call if you need anything.
Absolutely. Let him go. Shut the door after him. Turn around. All right. There's room here. And when he says there's room here, there is. However, this essentially probably like 2-bedroom apartment space worth, is like a maze because of boxes and it is horribly, it is the very disorganized version of organized. There's stuff around. There is like a little space, a little, like one of the rooms is entirely like a workspace. There is the front, the sort of the main area. There's still plenty of room to move. It's just stuff piled, pushed off to the side.
I will be right back while you describe that and have a
Cool.
conversation.
Yeah. Lots of boxes, lots of various stages of clothing in various stages of construction, all carefully hung in appropriate places. Kitchen is probably like the kitchen net area is probably like the one place that is fairly well, like clean and not cluttered with stuff. I guess take a load off and relax.
That might be a little hard, but I think I can manage.
I'll try to clear out some space. But
so there's probably some extra like mattresses and blankets that can be laid out. For
yes,
people.
absolutely. There is plenty of space like that because I imagine that he would have tended to be like, oh, you need a place to stay for the night. Here you go. A lot of the time. So yeah, go get start setting up sleep. What time is it at this point?
It's getting into the evening. The sun is
Okay.
set by now.
Okay. Yeah, set up some places for pull out blankets, and there's couch space, and all the couch can be pushed back into it does have the term. They pull out. Hide a bed. Thank you. That's the term.
Everything that you find, futon, that's another term that we use.
Futon is very different from a hide a bed.
That's fair. Is it a Murphy bed or is it like a?
It is like a full pull out hide a bed. Like you pull out the whole mattress.
Yeah, so the Murphy bed is like hides in the wall and you sort of pull it down.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, you pull it out of the couch.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right, yeah, because the futon, the couch turns into the mattress.
Yeah, the futon you just push the back and try to sleep on one of those fucking things.
I was about to say, Calliope's in her 30s. She can't sleep on a futon.
No, absolutely not. That's cruel. That is the Geneva Convention disallows that.
After the age of 29, there's no more futons allowed.
Nope.
All I can think of is Frisian. What's Geneva Convention?
Yeah. That's fair point.
What war crimes has Frisian committed?
But the thing that you notice, Jackson, as you look around, is that everything that you have is exactly where it was left, and is the same thing it was, but has been modernized.
Huh. Now, when you say has been, I'm assuming you only mean like technologically.
Yeah. Like it's stylistically still right, as it was, but like more advanced materials and technology.
Okay. Y'all make yourself comfortable. We can. I should have something at least that you can for temporary use in your sizes. so we can get dressed in something that's not, falling apart.
Oh, and as you're looking at your phone, Calliope, you look at it and you realize that there is an app on there called Freehold Banking, and you tap on it, and you see an account in your name and a lot of numbers on it.
Oh. Oh.
You all right?
Because you have 4 dots of resources, ma'am.
Well, I think a new wardrobe's not going to be too much of a problem. She'll just sort of flash the number.
You can. Okay, I have 2 questions. One, you can do that on your phone now?
Yeah, it's something known as a banking app. App, meaning,
App, as in like application.
yeah,
All right.
a little program that you can run on your phone.
All right. A Quicken, something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And 2, good Lord.
Oh no, it's a little bit worrisome. But Matchstick did say the hedge provides, so
Yes, it did. You did do that.
The hedge commits wire fraud.
Well, you all get comfortable. I am going to go change because the 4 people have seen me dressed in this, and that's allowed. That's all that's going to see me dressed in this level of disarray. And yeah, Jackson goes into the the bedroom and shuts the door to find some of his clothes and change. Comes out
Your
a few
clothes,
minutes
like
later.
everything else, same style, modern materials.
All right.
Rissian just kind of looks around the room.
how are you handling everything?
It's a lot, but you learn to deal with a lot.
I have so many questions for you, but
I have so many questions too.
I can, quite frankly, I can imagine. So what's the most burning question on your mind? That I can answer.
What's happened? It's
Hmm.
like I know like nuclear technologies is a thing, but that was new and a bomb.
Well, first I want to say, and don't feel bad about this because I don't know how directly involved you were, but the bombs were an atrocity. I mean, I know it was everything they can do to. I mean, we sent a message, but the ramifications that came of it. Japan is still dealing with the issues, and nuclear power advanced from there, and you had some issues in a place called Chernobyl or Pripyat. That I remember. It's weird. I remember history, and I remember like it's just me. I don't remember anything about me. The last I knew, we were working towards so many things. Nuclear power is sort of like, I don't want to say off the table, but sort of the least of our woes right now. I know most of modern science is dealing with attempting to elongate human life, and then from there we got space travel and
Space travel.
right. This might come as a shock to you, but we have landed on the moon.
Wow. It was difficult to go very far at all, but to go from here to the moon.
Uh, we sent spacecraft out a little further. Granted, we ain't stuck humans anywhere but the moon, at least to my knowledge. Let's see, we also
You know they put machines on Mars.
we put machines on Mars. Oh, we cured polio.
Found a cure for polio.
We actually developed a vaccine, keep people from ever getting it again. Though, if I do remember correctly, very infuriatingly, some of the vaccines that we have made specifically for diseases, some people have found ways to reintroduce those diseases, like measles.
And measles is a vaccine that was made like long before your time, Frisian.
Yeah. People are idiots. What was it? People are idiots and that's timeless or whatever. Whatever Jackson had said.
Oh, sorry. Measles itself was. That's right. Yeah, measles and mumps were in the 60s.
Yeah,
But there are other diseases that you've seen vaccinated before.
Like the flu.
Yeah, like the Spanish flu was a World War II thing, I believe.
End of World War One, if I remember
Yeah.
right. But like.
Yeah, 1918 was the Spanish flu. Yeah.
Like
H1N1.
Frisian would have heard about it from his parents.
Yeah. Yeah, like you would have heard about the H1N1 influenza pandemic and how that was treated.
So they have new vaccines.
That's
You
correct.
should probably get those.
Well, I mean, Matchstick did say that we don't get diseases quite the same way as the normal folk.
That's true. I wouldn't want to like be able to give it to other people either, though.
That's fair. Carriers are a thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Let's see. You have missed so fucking much that it's. I don't even know where to begin. Well, when you were done and World War II was over, we then fought Korea and we had the Vietnam War, and then we had Operation Desert Storm. And then we had another round of fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq again. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are a warlike country, and we will continue to be oppressive and militaristic. No offense. That's
I've seen what war does.
I am thankful that I haven't. Or that if I did, I do not remember any of it. Blessing in disguise, I suppose.
The phrase "war never changes" comes to mind.
War. War never changes. Competed with the separate phrase, war has changed.
Let's see, cars are faster, smoother, less likely to kill you. You can now have the breadth of human knowledge in your pocket, and at any point in time, use that. On top of that, they made it extremely easy to spend and waste money. You might be shocked. Things are not a nickel and a dollar anymore.
Well, damn.
Door opens up and you yes, how bad has inflation gotten in the last 25 years?
Bottle of Coke's about $3 at a grocery store.
Yeesh.
Any good Coke's about $3.
Alrighty. We'll make do.
That's all we can do, I suppose.
Yeah, he comes out in like nice fitted slacks, a brownish shirt with like a jacket over that, and a t-shirt underneath, and comes out with couple armfuls of clothes of various styles that he thinks will fit you guys pretty much, probably whatever you're looking for. Surprise, surprise. Here you go. It's not perfect, but I've had a lot of, in a fashion, I've had a lot of kids, and I've had a lot of people, a lot of other people's clothes that I've stored here over the years. I'm sure they won't mind, especially since it's probably been here untouched for 25 years. They've probably forgotten about it.
Calliope will pick through for something fairly toned down in color. Do you mind if I use the shower?
Not at all.
After
Make
Frisian's
yourselves
done,
completely at home.
after Frisian's done reeling about the price of Coke,
You'll
he'll look for clothes. In the 1940s, Coke cost 5 cents.
Yep.
It was a literal fucking nickel.
600% inflation. That's fucking ridiculous.
No, that's more than 600%.
That's like six.
That's 6,000%.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Man, Coke is the new student loans. So Calliope's gonna go take like an hour-long shower and just cry.
Fair. First thing, I'm going to go out, sort of get bearings a little bit, see what's changed around my home. Are you good here if you need anything? there anything you need that I can pick up?
I don't think so.
All right. But if you do, I'm not going to be far away. I'll be back shortly.
All right.
And if I'm not back shortly, I don't know what to say.
If you're not back shortly, you're AWOL. And we'll come looking for you.
That seems like it might be a bad idea if I'm not back shortly.
Frisian shrugs.
Just saying, be careful. We're safe now. But that don't mean nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Shouldn't be more than hour and a half. Probably much less.
All right.
All right. So, Calliope's getting a shower. Frisian is finding clothes.
And then stands there.
Yeah. That tracks. Jackson,
Yes.
where are you headed?
Just doing a walk about the area. Like, he wants to see what's changed in the last 25 years. Go into like a 7-Eleven or whatever convenience store is nearby. He would have grabbed like his wallet and stuff back from the house.
And you find that when what 2 dots of resources would have been at the time that you disappeared has now turned into what 2 dots of resources would be now.
Now, yes.
So there's a lot more individual bills in your wallet than there were previously.
But yeah, no, he's just essentially getting a sense of the area and how it's changed. It's grown up. Basically, what this area is like now.
Yeah, and like the area, like you're in the middle of Williamsburg. So it's fairly rural. There's not a whole lot of like individual stores, although there is, the convenience store off the one road and like auto repair shop nearby, Baptist church on every corner.
Of course, some things never change.
But you do, walk around, get a lay of the land. There's been a lot more, like, even this place being as rural as it is has seen a lot more construction since the last you were here. There are like neighborhoods that have been built in the time since then. And like the convenience stores that exist and the traffic lights that are there. You see a bunch of cars. You're a person in the 90s getting a view on the early 20s, on the early 2020s.
Yep. Legit. It's a whole lot of, okay, this is a thing.
Being sad that your favorite store closed down a decade ago.
Yep.
And as you try and get to grips, like you've been sort of getting your feet wet with it, but now you're really like, not only are you faced with it, but you're faced with it alone without someone else with you to sort of guide your hand on it. We're going to make our first roll of the game, which is going to be a breaking point.
Okay.
So this would normally be roughly a 3-die breaking point, but because you have your touchstone attached, it will be reduced to 2. So roll me 2 d10s.
Okay. Not great.
That's fine. That means That means it's not an attack that hits you.
That's right. That's right.
That means the attack does not hit you.
Yep.
So you sort of take a minute as your head spins on that, and you try and stop and just think about it. But you focus. It's not that far off from your experiences, even if it's really
Right.
far off from your experiences.
Right.
So you manage to compartmentalize it, take it in stride, sort of get your feel under it, and get a lay of the land without having to hyperventilate.
Yep. Now stop in somewhere, get just basic, like we are going to eat this stuff tonight, and then we'll figure out more tomorrow on a fresh day. And then head back.
Yeah. So yeah, so you head back. It's maybe an hour based on how far you have to walk without a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But after that time, Frisian, you see Jackson walk back in.
Jackson walks back in and just if Jackson's paying attention, just sees Frisian standing there statue-like. And then after a moment, Frisian's like, "Oh, welcome back."
You okay, honey?
Yeah. Just processing.
I believe there's a term for that. We call that dissociating. But totally normal. You didn't move, did you?
No. I don't tend to move a lot.
That's right. No, you wouldn't have, would you? Well, you can now.
You
You
see
can get
Frisian.
comfortable.
You see Frisian take a breath and like step out of.
Yep. Why don't you take a seat here on the couch?
Frisian takes a seat.
And here's something that you're gonna get to discover that's actually kind of nice. And I'm going to turn on the television.
So immediately you turn it on, and you have a smart TV here now.
Oh,
so
dear God.
It pulls up a list of channels and services.
This is when Calliope comes out of the shower.
As Calliope,
Put
you walk
on
out.
the regular channels, please.
And it reads your voice, but it's like, here are some popular channels for people to watch, and it just like
That's
lists.
good enough. I go down to one that I recognize and turn it on.
Like it. Now
TV Land. There you go. Because it's
Okay.
oldies.
The thing that came to mind is like you accidentally put on Fox for the old man.
No.
Not in this house. Calliope's coming out, hair still just dripping wet. Obviously did not dry off enough.
Right.
I'm gonna have to teach you two so much stuff.
I mean, I've got a handle on most of it. It's just it'll take a little bit of adjustment. I'll be fine. Frisian, this is like the movie shows, only at home.
Frisian's just absolutely bewildered.
Yes. Here you go. You can relax. I'm gonna go start making us something to eat. You feeling better, Calliope?
I suppose probably as good as I'm going to get right now.
That is fair.
What do we need for the house?
That is a real good question. Sorry, I just needed to check something. Okay, it's fine. That is a real good question. We had everything that I needed in 1998. And it looks like it's all, yeah, that's creepy. It's all current day stuff now. Oh dear God, that means I have one of those weird phones somewhere. Where did I leave my phone?
Contemplate that and walk over to one of your desks and pull the drawer open.
Yeah.
There's a smartphone sitting there.
Yeah, that didn't make it any less creepy. I don't know. I don't know what we might need.
Food. That's all we're gonna need.
Food, yes, of course, of course.
She will sit down and begin putting together a grocery pickup on one of the many apps that can
Yep.
do not pickup. We don't got a delivery. I'm gonna need the address again.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna have to. Well, hell, we're gonna have to figure out what we want to do from here because we're out now.
Something about a freehold and courts.
Yes, we need to do all of that stuff, and we'll figure that out. We've got the address for the freehold.
Might not be a bad plan to check that out at least once the sun comes up tomorrow.
Absolutely. We'll have to figure out a way to get there.
I was about to ask, how far is it as the crow flies?
It'd be probably about a 2-hour walk. I'm sure we can.
Well, happy you can always call an Uber.
Don't worry about the ride. I can handle that.
All right.
But other than that, I don't necessarily know what we
That's a good point. I don't know. So Jackson pauses 1 moment, and I'm going to walk outside. Now, the way Jackson's history worked, he had a car, but that car was not left anywhere near his home because he was not anywhere near his home.
Which means your car is probably not anywhere near your home.
Okay.
If it still exists.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
The hedge hasn't committed carjacking.
Right.
The hedge is bending reality to make things as the story needed them to be.
No GTA here. Okay, fair enough.
And since none of you asked if you had a car, none of you had a car.
That's fair.
All you think of, it would have been funny to give Frisian a car.
Yeah.
Except it wasn't updated.
Or it's
just a car from 1950 or 45.
All right. Well, he walks back in. No car. So
there's this new application that came out a couple years ago called Uber or Lyft, if you so desire. It's basically a taxi service that people can do from their own cars. So I tap into the app where we're supposed to go, and they connect us generally with some individual who has free time, and they drive us to and from.
A weird world. It's not that weird, I'll be honest. But all right, well, we can get there then.
Lifts to Dollywood are probably not that uncommon.
Probably not.
I think my question is when we get to this freehold and start talking to others of our kind, exactly what are we supposed to be doing? Like,
I don't think there's any supposed about it. Like, sure, we will register with their. It's not what it is, but you know what I mean. We will check in with the proper people and so on and so forth. But I mean, we're free. I didn't. We didn't escape from who we escaped from just to get thrown back into a situation where we don't do what we want to do. We should. Do you want to find that? Do you want to figure out your
look down at her hand.
information? Find out if you've got one of those. What matchstick call it?
Fetch.
Yeah.
He said we'd be able to feel it. Didn't he?
I'm muted. He said you might be able to feel it eventually. And if you don't, the fetch will make itself known.
Like, I think it's fair to say that Frisian, you probably do not have a fetch anymore if you ever did. Mine would be, assuming they age regularly. Damn, almost mid 80s by this point, and that's very unlikely. Though I will confess that I am somewhat curious as to see if I had one, what kind of havoc they might have wreaked in my place. And I don't even know how to go about doing that because I do not look like an 84-year-old man.
No, you do not.
Huh. Well,
Frisian breaks away from the TV for a moment and, like, counting on his fingers. Is like, I'm not that much older than you.
all right, those are not words I need to hear anymore.
Hey, for our real ages, we look pretty damn good, though.
I mean, you're not wrong there. Also, yes, you are.
Frisian
I'll
would have only
have
been
you know I was born in 1949. You were already where you were by the time I came into this earth.
Frisian was on the young end for joining the war.
I mean, fair, but you weren't -4.
No. Frisian's like in this timeline. That's not like. Wait
Yeah.
a minute.
I'm only like 20 years older than you, dude.
Fair.
I love the cell phone tower like service Wi-Fi symbol of ages we have going on here.
Right? Well, I suggest he's had a very long day. At the end of a very, 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 very long period of yes.
Calliope will visibly shudder.
I suggest we get some rest.
Right, that's a thing I can do now. I can sleep.
Yes, you can.
Oh.
And if you are
ouch.
if you have trouble with it, like perhaps you've forgotten how or anything, don't worry. I have liquids that can fix that. We call it gin.
Oh, please, for the love of God, please.
Oh, is it drink making time?
I think it's just drinking time.
All right, what are you having?
Anything in a glass.
That I can do. Frisian.
Frisian's back captivated by the TV at the moment.
Frisian, sweetie, do you want a drink?
A drink? Sure.
What do you drink? What's your pick your poison?
I don't really have a preference.
You are all horribly unhelpful. And I will hold this against you for many, many years after this.
Vodka. And
There we go.
Literally any fruit juice.
Very well. And yes.
All right, so
Jackson
you make
starts
a mimosa for Calliope.
Yes, absolutely.
Screwdriver.
I'm very concerned if you put vodka in your mimosas.
Vodka and orange juice.
No, that's a screwdriver.
That is a screwdriver.
A mimosa
right,
is
yes.
champagne and
Champagne,
orange
right?
juice.
Yes, I was thinking a screwdriver.
Johnny fucking turns up at brunch.
Look, the reason I thought of that was because one of the alcoholic drinks that I have tried in my search to find an alcohol I like was a mead mimosa, which is
fair.
mead and orange juice.
Yeah.
And I was thinking vodka's in roughly like it's stronger, but in that same range.
No. Like yeah. A mimosa is champagne and orange juice. That's why it's okay to serve. Yeah, juice. That's why it's okay to serve to at brunches.
Yeah.
So you do not get wasted during brunch.
A screwdriver.
You definitely still get wasted.
Oh yes, no, don't get me wrong. You can.
You just need a couple more.
Let me tell you about what my New Year's Eve was like. But
the big questions for it's like one, Frisian's only like 20. So he's not drank before.
I mean,
and then
you were 20, but you were also in the army, so. But
you probably had some form of bourbon.
Fair, yeah, no. And Jackson gets to play host, so they relax a little bit. Yeah, you doles out drinks. Is mix something. Who knows what it is, but there were a lot of ingredients that went into it. Like, if you will excuse me, I'm going to go do the other thing that eases my mind, and I am going to go work. So, if you need anything, just knock on the door.
Calliope is just going to down her drink in one go and then face plant onto the nearest flag
Fair.
and sleep for the first time in 4.5 years.
Yep.
Rizian's going to hold the drink and just be staring at the television.
So it's
After about
three-
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Jackson will have come out to check. Rizian, are you all right?
Yeah, just
Remember, you don't have to stand still anymore.
Rizian stands up and goes and looks out a window.
All right. You need anything, you just let me know. Goes back in and then comes back out 10 minutes later, is still standing right at the same spot at the window.
He is, but not looking like dead-eyed through the
Okay,
window.
fair enough. That's fine. We have improvement, folks. This is progress.
No, Frisian stands at the window, looking at the stars, and just kind of passively like figures out where in the world they are.
Mm-hmm. And yet Jackson is just going to spend probably a good 3 or 4 hours just going through organizing things, just like menial things to sort of get recenter themselves. And then eventually we'll probably go to sleep.
And as three individuals all cope with their new existence in various ways through sleep, drink, and work, and a combination thereof. Each of them, as they find their rest for the evening, can't help but wonder, with everything they've learned so far, just what exactly is the price tag on the gift of their freedom. And that is where we will end for the week.
Alrighty.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.